Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article that came out in Essence. If you remember, I did a story on this police chief a few months ago where he was ordering his officers to go out, find Black men, and pin any unsolved crime on those Black men in order to make it look like they have a perfect crime statistics as far as arrest and finding the suspects. Never accept them telling you Black people are the most violent. Don't you ever accept that. Here's the reasons why. I did an article a few months ago that talked about the inmates in jail and what kind of inmates were in the prisons. 66%, and you can look this up, 66% of the Black people in jail, mainly men in jail, are charged with the crime, but never convicted of a crime. And they've been in there for years. In other words, they never went to court. So they're literally rounding up Black men, charging them with a crime. The cop is charging them with a crime, but it never, ever reaches the courts. So they're charged, but never convicted. Why 66%? That's the majority. So why is this so prevalent in the US? Okay, I can tell you why. Because they need to get that prison labor done. They don't care. Okay, and in Texas alone, 72% of the inmates have never been convicted of a crime. So I don't know how you determine that somebody is some most violent, and this is the kind of prison record you have in America. Now we have this big bowling ball head police chief that instructed his officers to go out and pin burglaries and auto theft on innocent Black people because they couldn't find a suspect. So any old Black person will do, just go out there, find them, and just stick the crime on them. He was just dumb enough to get caught, ladies and gentlemen. This goes on all over the nation. Okay, another reason is most Black men are in jail for non-violent drug possession. So I don't know how you have all of this going on and Black people are the most violent. Are you kidding me? First of all, white people, go look at your 500-year track record. You don't need to talk about anybody's violence. You don't have a leg to stand on. But let's get into this article, ladies and gentlemen, because this will give you a clear picture on how policing is done in America. Former Florida police chief pleads guilty to pinning burglaries on 3 innocent Black people. And yes, this is your standard run-of-the-mill racist Hispanic. All right, a former Florida police chief who had a lot to say 5 years ago after bragging about his department's 100% clearance rate of burglaries is now singing a different tune, pleading guilty to directing 3 of his officers to frame 2 innocent young Black men and 1 innocent 16-year-old boy of unsolved home and vehicle break-ins in order to boost and perfect the department's crime record. So he was more concerned about their crime record than the fact that he was putting innocent people in jail. Innocent Black people go to jail in America every day. And these people don't flinch about it because it is not about you being violent, Black people. It's all about getting that prison work done. That is the reason why they enslave you today. America has never been without slavery. It has never gotten rid of slavery because of the 13th Amendment. And all these centuries, slavery has been going on in America. Now they just put the slave work behind bars. Biscayne Park Police Chief Raimundo Astiano, 52, pleaded guilty to conspiracy in Miami federal court. Race was not a factor in the federal case, although the three who were wrongfully arrested were Black. That's a damn lie. Race is always a factor in America. America built its whole foundation on racism and still peddle racism even today. And you can see this in the recent things that are happening, including the phone calls against Black people out in public. They don't call the police on Chinese people. They don't call the police on other white people. They don't call the police on anybody else except for Black people. Every time you see these incidents happen, it's always a white person screaming and hollering about calling the police on Black people. So racism hasn't gone anywhere, nor will it go anywhere as long as America still exists, according to the Miami Herald. Nonetheless, the conspiracy conviction carries up to 10 years in prison, though it will be interesting to see how much time Astiano actually serves. I bet you he will serve less time than the people that he wrongfully charged with a crime in order to clear up his unsolved crimes. I bet you he'll get less in prison than them. Atestiano will face sentencing November 27th per the plea agreement. The U.S. Attorney's Office agreed to recommend 2 years. However, the final decision remains up to the judge. No, he doesn't need 2 years in prison. How much does a prison sentence cost for burglary and vehicle break-in? That's the kind of sentence he needs to get. The same kind he would have given these innocent people. I'm sure they were getting a lot longer behind bars than 2.5 years or 2 years. He faces between 2 and 2.5 years in prison under federal sentencing guidelines, which is a sham, considering he was fully prepared to send 3 innocent people to serve likely far longer sentences. That's what I'm talking about. No, don't give him a break. He didn't give anybody else a break. 2 other charges of civil rights violations, which carry up to 1 year each, will be dismissed in his case. Testiano probably dodged a bullet as he was due to face trial on Monday. Prosecutors were reportedly going to introduce evidence of 3 other false arrests while he was an officer. So, so they found 3 more on top of the 3 that he is being charged with. This is why the Black community don't trust cops. You haven't done anything to be trusted. The vast majority of law enforcement officers across the nation serve our communities with honor and integrity. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. Mm-mm. We will not allow the minority of officers who cast aside their oath and tarnish the reputation of those who protect us all. No, that's not a minority. That's the majority. That's damn near all of your cops out here. I love how these folks always try to minimize everything, but there's no minimizing it, ladies and gentlemen. The track record is 500 years old. Okay, since the slave patrol came into effect, that's how long their track record has been tarnished. The cases all started over the summer when three former Biscayne Park officers who had worked under Testiano when he was chief in 2013 and 2014 pleaded guilty to civil rights violations due to the arrest of the three individuals. In a bid to reduce prison time, the three officers worked with the FBI and the federal prosecutors, forcing Testiano to push for a plea agreement rather than face a jury, which he would have been he really deserved to be in front of a jury. But then again, not the kind of juries in America, the rigged up all white jury. No, he doesn't need to be in front of them. The Herald reports in August, officers Charlie Dayub, 38, and Rolf Fernandez, 62, pleaded guilty that they falsified the arrest affidavit for a 16-year-old Black suspect for 4 unsolved break-ins. So they grabbed an innocent 16-year-old off the streets and tried to charge him with 4 unsolved break-ins. We have more reason not to trust cops than to trust them. In June 2013, a month before, the police chief, Testiano, touted the town's 100% burglary clearance record at a village commission meeting. Well, he's a liar like most of these officers are every day in this country. Testiano told the 2 officers that he wanted them to unlawfully arrest TD, the teen, for residential burglaries, knowing that there was no evidence that TD had committed the burglaries, according to the indictment charging all 3 former officers. The charges against the teen were eventually dropped after the Miami-Dade State's Attorney's Office noticed the 4 arrest affidavit written by Fernandez and signed by Dayub. All use similar vague language that the investigation revealed TD employed the same MO, and the homes had a rear door pried open. Okay, so these dodos didn't have sense enough to write police reports that look different. Woo, I guess it's them damn high IQs again, y'all. Then in January 2013, Testiano ordered Dayub and another officer, Guillermo Ravello, who plead guilty to conspiracy as well, to arrest Clarence Desalu for breaking into homes in Biscayne Park because there was reliable information that he had forged and cashed a check stolen during the course of a third home burglary. Attestiano told the officers to make the arrest for the two additional burglaries, despite knowing that there was no evidence that, so they're picking people up and there's no evidence that they ever committed the crime. That is just ridiculous. Again, this is why the Black community don't trust cops. Your cops are bigger, even bigger criminals than the people on the streets. The biggest criminal on the streets in America today are the cops. Okay, so they tried to put this 35-year-old in prison for 5 years, plus deport him back to Haiti. The Miami-Dade state's attorney has since thrown out his wrongful conviction. Then there was the arrest of a 31-year-old, Eramus Banma, related to 5 unsolved vehicle burglaries. So they just grabbed this guy and tried to accuse him of all of this auto theft that they couldn't solve. Again, there was no evidence that Banma had committed the crimes, but Attestiano ordered Ravello to arrest Banma in February 2014. Ravello followed through filling out 5 arrest forms, falsely accusing the 31-year-old. Wow. Wow. For each of the 5 cases, Ravello falsely claimed in an arrest affidavit that Banma had taken him to the site of the respective burglary and confessed to the terms that he had stolen, court records noted. All of this because Attestiano wanted a perfect record of clearing burglaries. So he was willing to lie at the expense of innocent Black men just so he looked like he had a perfect arrest record when it came down to burglaries. That is selfish as hell, but let's go on. The police department touted clearing 29 of 30 burglary cases during Attestiano's leadership. Well, you better check all of those 29 because he's probably lying about all 29. But now it has been uncovered that 11 of those cases were based on false arrest records. As chief of police for the village of Biscayne Park, Attestiano caused and encouraged officers to arrest persons with a legal basis in order to have arrests. Let me just go down a bit. All right, because I want to get past all of this man's lying and everything. Okay, let me just go down here. If they have 5 burglaries that are open cases that are not solved yet, if you see anybody Black, this is what the chief of police is telling them. This is what he's telling them. He encouraged the officers to go out and target Black people to clear his unsolved cases. So this is his words that he said to them. If you have burglaries that are open cases that are not solved yet, if you see anybody Black walking through our streets and they have somewhat of a record, arrest them so we can pin them for all the burglaries, one cop said in an internal probe ordered in 2014. They were basically doing this to have a 100% clearance rate for the city. Yet, people are still wondering why Colin Kaepernick kneels. At any rate, Miami-Dade prosecutors are expected to review criminal arrests during Atestiano's tenure as police chief. So now they have to go back and look at everything because this man is such a big freaking liar. They got to go back and look at everything he did over the years that he was police chief because he lied so damn much to get Black people put in prison. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why the Black community, we're going to have to find ways to do things such as protect our neighborhoods without involving a lot of cops. It's going to have to be done in order to stop this kind of stuff from happening to us in our community. By now, we need to figure out ways where we have people within the community to resolve whatever's going on, and not these outside people that have no good intentions when it comes down to our community coming in and policing us. I said it before, I'll say it again. He's Latino. He needs to go and patrol the Latino neighborhoods. Let Black cops patrol Black neighborhoods. But see, ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to do this. And this is the reason why they're not going to do it. Number one, if they bring Black cops in to patrol the Black community, how are they going to continue mass incarceration? If they bring Black cops in to patrol the Black community, crime goes down and it makes liars out of them. And you know that the FBI statistics already revealed that crime is going down in all of the urban areas and going up in the rural areas. And ladies and gentlemen, they are nosy. They want to know what we're doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay? If you took them out of the neighborhood and replaced them with Black cops, it would drive them crazy that they don't know what Black people are doing every second of the day. He's one of many. There's many of these corrupt police departments that need to be examined for doing the same thing. Trust me, this police chief is not alone. He's far from it. But this is the sick thing that goes on in this country every day. They do these things and then try to tell you at the same time that you're violent. But yet, most of the Black men and women in prison are not there for violence. They're there for drug possession. So if we're the most violent, shouldn't that be reflected in your prison population? Why isn't it? Okay, it goes back to what I said to you before. The day that the slaves left the plantation, we all became criminals. The 13th Amendment was written to ensure that Black people would always be in slavery for years to come. America is a slave nation. It can't live without slavery. Without slavery, this entire country will collapse. These folks sure can't say they built this country on their own merit. They didn't. They can't even say they earned everything because this is stolen. Okay, you didn't earn something that you stole. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.